That's a good moment to ask you a question here. I got a really good question from Zach Remy. Remy, sorry for mispronouncing. Shout out, man. He's always almost always in my live streams. What experiment have you done that stands out the most in your mind as far as surprising you with the results?
So the biggest results that I can see in terms of like physical changes was definitely the stomach vacuums. I did not expect me to go from, again, when I mentioned this in the first few videos, is that I always struggled with fat loss. So I wasn't fat, but I was always slightly chubby. Like I never had a solid six pack. So I'd always walk around like sticking my stomach out, trying to like show my abs through my shirt. So over the years, I just had like a very blocky like midsection. Like I couldn't do anything with it. So some kids messaging me now on like, I can do stomach vacuums. Yeah, but it's like, yeah, dude, you're 10 years old. Like you don't even do ab exercises. Do abs for 20 years or 15 years and then try doing stomach vacuums, and it's going to be hard because like you built up this solid base of muscle. So I didn't think much results was going to come from it at all. But from those videos, you can see that my body fat levels really didn't change much at all. And I went from a 32, 34-inch waist, like that's the belts I had to wear, the pant sizes I had to get. And now, as well as a year after that experiment, excuse me, I went down to a 28 to 30. So I
Mm,
lost 4 to 6 inches off my waist by doing this. And
yeah.
why? I believe it's that underneath your abs and your obliques, you have your rectus abdominis, and it runs across your body like this. So it's what they call is like a muscular corset. So the more you strengthen this up, it's going to actually tighten up your body, and it helps build a protective muscular wall around your organs and stuff. So some people leave comments too, is like, imagine if you got punched in the stomach. And it's like, actually, my stomach and my organs are actually much more protected because I've done the stomach vacuum for so long. Now,
Crazy.
another experiment that I believe has greatly benefited me, and this is stuff that I can't physically show you changes. We do have scientific changes that are coming out of my YouTube channel right now, but it's the neurohacking experiments and the microdosing experiments. So as I mentioned earlier on in this live stream, or maybe when we first started chatting, I'm not sure if it was on the live stream yet, but I hopped on Ben Switzer's cognitive enhancement program. This guy, he actually got Lyme disease. He got bit by a tick being out in the woods, and this tick
Shit.
gave him Lyme disease. And he went through, I think, 12 to 13 different doctors, and they all misdiagnosed him. So for years he had Lyme disease. No one figured out what that it was Lyme disease, and his mental, like his brain, went through serious negative side effects. Like and after, so what he did is he finally met a doctor who was like, all right, let's try this blood transfusion. They replaced all the blood in his body, and it actually eradicated the Lyme disease from his body. But because it had been so long, his legs were shutting down on him, his brain was shutting down, like all these things were shutting down on him physically and mentally. So he was like, how can I do this? Because no doctor is going to help me through this because they don't even know what the hell is going on.
Mm,
So he started heavily reading about meditation, taking nootropics, doing brain games, all this stuff to try to cognitively enhance yourself, and he saw amazing results. And now he's doing some big things here in London. He's creating a whole, like, a game that helps kids with, ADD and issues like that, on how to, find other ways to get through this stuff. As well as he's created True Focus, where he reaches out to, doctors, lawyers, businessmen, and shows them, look, I can raise your cognitive levels. I can raise your mental aptitude 10 to 15%. And if you have a 10 to 15% increased cognitive and mental aptitude, for some people out there, that could mean thousands to millions of dollars in their business. So for myself, I've experimented around with meditating in the past, but I always struggled with it because I was like, man, I'm not seeing results. I'm doing this for 5 to 7 days now. I'm sitting here trying to breathe and trying to do nothing, and I don't feel like anything's happening. But because I was kind of forced, because I was on his program and it wasn't my own thing I had to do, I saw some amazing benefits from meditation. It was probably around that, day 10 to day 12 of meditating 3 to 4 times a day for 15 to 20 minutes that I finally really started to, like, I can sit there now and really flow into the meditation. And it's just been an extremely enhanced understanding for myself in the world, what I want to do, what I really care for. And along with that, like after I did that for 3 months, I then started experimenting around with microdosing and psychedelics and taking mushrooms. And that as well too has been like, phew, where it's like when I'm on my microdosing days, if you guys are very interested, you can go check out a bunch of videos that are on my channel right now where I take you through these days where I'm experimenting with a very fraction of a dosage of magical mushrooms. And I have a greater connection to my body. It's almost like I want to meditate. I want to put on slow music and do deep breathing and get very introspective. And I have to say that mentally, in terms of seeing, like I've described this in one of my videos, it's like a person from the outside looking in, they're not going to see many changes. But from inside and looking out, it's like there's a different filter. Like
Yes.
there's a different way I see the world after these experiments. And right now, I actually did a microdosing day yesterday. Very introspective, very in my own head, questioning my morals and values, having a greater connection with my body and my joints. Like I've rolled out my muscles and feeling more connection, feeling where those knots are compared to a day like today. It's like, oh, here's my arms, here's my biceps. Whereas like on these days, there's just this greater connection with the whole body, and the mind and muscle connection is absolutely insane. So I'd have to say, guys, I'm at this conundrum in life where I think other people need to experience things like marijuana and psychedelics, but I'm also at that state where I don't think, like, I think it's for everyone, but I don't think everyone should just hop into it.
Yes.
I think there's
Yes.
many other things you need to experiment with in life before you have this very like, again, it's going to make you question a lot of things about yourself. And if you're not comfortable with who you are as a human being, it can make you paranoid. It can heavily make you feel anxious and anxiety and all these other kind of things that you might not be comfortable with in life. But I think it's something that people need to experience and experiment with. So sorry if that was a little long,
No,
Charles, but like
no,
that's honestly, like the last 6 to 8 months of my life and doing these experiments have really changed my outlook on the world.
Thank you.